How's it going? This is Chad from Vintage Space. I'm going to be doing something a little bit different for this channel and doing some gameplay. We have a new game called Kerbal Space Program 2 and was just released about a week ago. I'm going to go ahead and get started here. I'm going to choose the default campaign. While there's loading, I just kind of want to tell you a little bit about what I want to do today. And we want to cover the new vehicle assembly building. I want to show you the new features. I also want to show you the similarities from the old game, KSP2. So here is our new shiny vehicle assembly building. As you can kind of see right off the bat, we've got a lot of differences. We've got an airplane that's showing on this one of the walls there and a rocket on the other. If anybody in the comment section can tell me why that is. I have a feeling that it's indicating that this is both the vehicle assembly building and the space plane. On the left-hand side, as you can see, we've got our parts manager, completely overhauled from the original Kerbal Space Program. The parts that we're seeing right now are the favorites, or most used parts, as you can see designated by the tan star on the upper right-hand corner of each part. Let's go move down to the command pods. As you can see, we've got a lot of familiar parts from the old game. Here's all of our Methalox engines. Again, they all have the same names, and they all have the same shape. Let's go ahead and spawn one of these engines here, and let's go through, and just to show you a little bit more of the vast parts that they've actually added in this game. I'm very impressed with the part counts that have released with this early access. I'm going to go ahead and just slap on a fuel tank real quick. And that really cool spark effect after you've placed a part on another part. I really like that little touch there. Alright, if you hold your right mouse button, as usual, you can pan. Hold the middle mouse button, you can go up and down. Let's go ahead and add another part. We're going to go into the structures, or I mean the coupling section, and we're going to add a decoupler on top of the fuel tank. We're going to go ahead with this small decoupler. And then the next thing we're going to add is our command capsule. Go to the command pods, and we're going to go to the small capsule called the MK1 tin can. Of course, we're going to need to save this Kerbal, so we're going to need to go in and add a parachute on the top. That's, of course, going to be the utility section. Let's choose this extra small, and we're going to go ahead and stick this right on the top. Now, this is not a complete rocket because I want to go with 2 stages. Alright, so in order to accomplish this, we're going to need to add another decoupler to the bottom of the upper stage engine. And there we go. Let's also add another fuel tank to the bottom. And of course, this one's going to have to be a larger fuel tank because it's going to be the first stage of our rocket. I'm going to go to this SM fuel tank here, FLT 800, and let's add an engine to the bottom of it to complete this rocket. Let's pick this LVT-45 swivel that we're all familiar with. Of course, this is the one with the thrust vectoring. Of course, thrust vectoring will let us steer our rocket in the air. Some engines do not have it, and that makes for a very bad day when trying to fly a rocket through the atmosphere. What I'm doing here is I'm just kind of moving the rocket down by grabbing the root part node as designated by the white circle with the little black crosshairs. Now here's a really cool new feature. You can actually build crafts next to crafts, yet have another root node started in the vehicle assembly building. I'm hovering my mouse over that green there, and that designates that that is a launchable vehicle, and you click this section right here, and then it turns green, and that is what actually launches on the pad. That means the rocket on the left will not launch. So all I need to do is click the rocket on the left, and that one will actually be the one to launch. Let's go ahead and just finish this little rocket off here. I'm going to just choose a smaller fuel tank. I'll put that below the command pod, and I'm going to add a engine to the bottom of that fuel tank. I'm just going to choose a different engine just to kind of show a little bit of the different parts. I'm going to choose this little guy here. It's usually for large probes, but hey, it's all good. I'm going to attach a decoupler to the bottom of that engine. I'm going to add a small one. Yeah, it does look a little bit ridiculous because it does not match up to the part sizing standards that they have designated by the color codes and the SM, XS, and MD, as you can see in the left-hand side of the parts menu. I've been continuing to add parts here. I'm holding Alt to copy parts and then just simply pasting them into the rocket on the right-hand side. If anybody in the comment section can tell me what this little eyeball here that goes from white to blue, that would be definitely helpful. I'm going to go copy the parachute on the completed rocket onto the backup rocket. I want to cover some of the things on the lower right-hand corner. This is called the new trip planner. It tells you how much delta V you need to go to reach each planet. Let's just take an example here. Let's going to go to the moon. It does say all systems optimal for that rocket on the left to actually make it to the moon. Now, I'm going to go ahead and actually see if maybe this rocket over here is going to be capable to go to the moon. It says, oh no, you didn't. Pretty funny. Select the rocket on the left again, and it says your numbers look good. So, it's telling us the rocket on the right is not going to reach our destination, but the one on the left will. So, of course, we're going to want to launch the rocket on the left. Let's go ahead and close the trip planner out. And so the craft saving has a bit of an overhaul. You can still name your craft at the top. We're just going to call this Fly Safe 101, just to be a little bit different. But the new feature here is you can see we have workspaces now. Basically what that is you can create a workspace and save multiple crafts inside that workspace. So if you have multiple assemblies, you would like to kind of mix and match, have different launch configurations, that is a perfect feature for that. I'm going to go fix my staging. As Scott Manley would also say, check your staging. So that is a very important thing before we bring this thing out on the launch pad. There is a bug in this version. Not all the part stages can be moved around. As you can see, it's showing red and it cannot move. I don't know if it's anything I'm doing wrong. If anybody in the comment section could help me out if I'm doing this wrong. It just feels a little finicky, but hey, it's early access, so I do understand. You can click the plus sign and add a stage and then just drag something inside of it. The red minus, of course, means it's going to remove a stage. I just want to get this so that the parachute's at the top. On my engine fires for the first stage, make sure that's on the bottom. Just give me a little bit of time here to fix this up, and we're gonna go to launch. Now I want to show you a really cool feature. If you go down to this 3D looking box thing here, you can click and get orthographic views of your rocket. Kind of just reminds you of designing your rocket as a blueprint. Just kind of a cool little feature to play around with. Of course, we still have our center of thrust, center of lift, and center of mass indicators. And if you click these two sections here, it changes radial and mirror symmetry. You just click that and you can go through 1 through 6. Then we've got mirror, and we go back to radial. Magnet means snap or not to snap parts. I want to come back to the section on the lower right hand corner next to the launch button to show you the similar features that we did have in KSP1. We've got an engineer's report, which is the twist on Kerbal Engineer, so that's great to see that included here in KSP2. And we've got our parts manager, and it kind of categorizes all the parts that you have, and then it lists the parts in your rocket underneath the main category, And what you can do is you can just go through there and tweak each part instead of right-clicking each part, because actually right now that does not work in the VAB. You cannot click on a part. Actually, I'm sorry, you can't right-click the part in the actual part catalog, but you can still right-click the parts in the builder. As you can see, I'm just kind of, tweaking the individual features of each part. You can, of course, familiarize yourself with that. It's pretty basic. Here's the new action group manager. Let's just go quickly, just do something under action group 1. Let's set the engines to just toggle on and off. We'll select the LV909, click toggle engine, and as you can see, it added it to the action group. And your Kerbal manager is actually the astronaut selection that you used to have in the upper left hand corner. Here, it's been overhauled and really easy to use. You can swap your Kerbals over. Alright, so that pretty much wraps it up for the basic features of the new vehicle assembly building in KSP2. Let's go ahead and go to launch. The first thing you're going to notice is a completely reworked launch pad. If you notice in the back, they did add the launch tower back in. They used to have that in very early builds of Kerbal Space Program 1. It's nice to see that back. And if you see in the lower right hand corner, if you want to launch, you can actually click that, or you can just hit spacebar. And then what it's going to do is it's going to do a 5-second launch countdown. A couple new little features that they added to Launchpad is this water suppression system and sparks. Also really nice texturing on the Launchpad. And here we go. This Kerbal Space Center has been revamped. They have added 3 more launch pads and an extra runway. Alright, I'm going to end this. Thanks for sticking with me, and see you guys on the launch pad.